everybody, I'm still quite amazed when this stuff works. Always expecting something to go haywire, but so far so good, right? Not too bad. So how's everybody doing out there? Look at the new window I have. Isn't that pretty cool? So now it's not square anymore. I thought that was pretty wild. I'm always bringing new and exciting stuff to the live stream. Look, I'm getting smaller, getting bigger. I can change the window to make it look like this or like that. Wow, talk about high tech, right guys? I mean, it's unbelievable. So anyway, we'll put this over here. And so how's everybody doing today? Hope everyone is having a great week. And how's the sound and picture quality so far? What do you think of the new window? It's kind of different, kind of cool. So let's see who we have here today. So we have Patty, how you doing? Good to see you. Roy, how are you, sir? We have Mike Deloach, how you doing? So glad you can make it. I know you work a lot of hours, so anytime you come by and hang out with us is always appreciated. Total Pain, John Payne, how are you today, sir? We have Mr. Willie, how are you? Good to see you, my friend. And Willie was only one who got my Fast Time at Ridgemont High reference last week, so you get bonus points, Willie. And we got Brad. How you doing, Brad? Great to see you all the way from Canada. Blue, how are you? Good to see you, Blue. And who else do we have here? Is that everybody so far? Oh, John Diekman, all the way from Wisconsin. John Diekman in the house. Good to see you. Paul, how you doing? Paul, did that airbrush arrive yet? And let's see, Steve Leahy, how's it going? Good to see you, sir. So I think I said hello to everyone. So Willie says he's old too. Hey, I seen that movie in the movie theaters, Willie. So that's how old I am, right? So if anyone doesn't know, they're here for the first time. My name is Timothy John Luke Smith. I am a fine artist. I studied for 8 years in New York City. Didn't come to the airbrush until around 2010. From there, I fell in love with the medium. I've been working on it every day since. I haven't gotten rid of my other mediums. I like to bring the fine art world and airbrush world together. If, hey, Nameless, how you doing? If weekly live streams and once in a while some tech videos and things like that, if that interests you, hit that subscribe button. This way you'll get alerted every time new videos come out. And I will be able to help you on your journey in this crazy medium called the airbrush. Now with this particular painting, in the beginning, with this very light cream paper, and then I was working with that with the white mixture, which is Drew Blair's 50/50 illustration white. And so I have my own mixture, and I mixed that onto the light areas of the flesh. What happened was when I went over it with my sepia mixtures, it kind of reacted and got this really weird color shift. I wouldn't say a blue shift because it wasn't blue at all. It was more of a slate gray. So at that point, I was like, you know what? We're going to save it by going in with Pastel, which I have years of experience. How many years? That's right. I am not giving my age out. So Mike S., good to see you. How are you? Welcome back. That is so great. And so we have very healthy group here. That's nice. I have my lemonade, which I will be partaking quite quickly. So what I want to do is I want to make triangles. And first thing I have to do is locate my scissors, which is great because it wasn't behind anything or underneath something, so I found it pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and we're going to cut some triangles. just like so. This is a great program. I was using something called, you know, it's such a painful memory. What it was called. My other live stream software, it was absolutely a disaster, and I was paying like $21 every 3 months, and they outsourced their customer service, and I was getting nothing but headaches and dropped live streams, and I said, you know what, you're fired. And then I was able to find a free software that works much better. So I'm making these little triangles, which is pretty cool. And we're going to apply. Wendy, how are you? Great to see you. How you feeling? So glad you're here. So that is great. See, everyone is wondering how you're doing. You're very well thought of here on the live stream, Wendy. That shows how cool you are. Don't listen to Tim. Yes, he is an awesome artist, but here he is the king of the art nut schoolhouse. That's pretty funny there, sir. Thank you. And let's see, who else? What are people saying out there? Okay, made some triangles. Okay, I shouldn't do that because that makes noise. Let me move this over here. So how's the sound and the picture quality? Hello. That's really loud, right? So we don't want to do that again. So let's move over here and let's see. Okay, so I have my reference of Miss Maisie over here, which is great. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue working in this neck area here where a little bit of light is peeking through, you know. And let me take a sip of lemonade. The secret is it's a low-calorie lemonade. Helped me lose 15 pounds since October, which is cool because I needed to lose it. I need to lose another 7 pounds. I lose another 7 pounds, I'll be okay. And I'll continue working out with weights. And I may be dangerous. So, let's come over here, put more light on the subject. I need to put light on my pastel palette. Okay, so we're going to work on her neck area here. And there is some light peeking through. So, it's kind of a greenish light. So I'm going to work on this right now. Mix up this greenish color. And let's see how this goes. This right here. And I need a little more powerful white here. Rick, how you doing? How's everything, sir? Good to see you. Oh, coffee's always good, Wendy. Definitely. I only had 1 cup today. You know, when I'm so busy some days, I forget to have coffee and I even forget to eat. But today I remembered to eat. But I only had 1 cup of coffee. See how I'm peeking in some of that light that's there? And I'll show you. So the light is peeking in there and it's kind of a greenish type of color. And we'll just peek this down. And you'll see that, you know, a lot of times, a lot of these colors have, you know, a lot of these colors you wouldn't think are in flesh, but they really are. Like greens and blues and violets, and you'll really start to see that you know, once you paint over and over again from life, and then again, consequently, when you also paint from good photographs. Don't paint from bad photographs. That's a real big problem in the art world, is like a lot of people are using really bad photographs, and it's just making their lives so much harder. So I'm just going to establish this light here for a little bit. I think this is glasses territory. What do you all think, huh? Definitely. Ooh, look at that light. It's kind of blinding you guys back there. That's better. Yeah, I was wondering why I was feeling a glare. That was weird. And there's like a blast of light right over here. So if I zoom out, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's like a blast of light here. So I'm going to put some powerful light here. Really strong. And we'll soften this up in time. But now that I have that powerful light, I'm really going to see where else that light is at. And remember, when you're putting in, when you want to cover an area, you want to just go 1, 2, and that's it, and then reload. That's always good. Hey, Mr. Garcia, good to see you, my friend. How are you? And who else? Someone said hello. Oh, Catherine, how you doing all the way from Belgium? Great to see you, Catherine. Catherine's a wonderful artist from Belgium. She's fantastic. It's so good to see you. And you see how I'm putting that blast of light right there? It's really helping. And it's all the 1 second rule. So 1 second rule is crucial, very important. And I'm not trying to get the color right away. I'm just sort of working towards the color, right? That's what we're doing. And yeah, color started happening, 2 weeks ago we started going in with color, Mike. And yeah, we missed you, sir, so I'm glad you made it today, sir. Here we go. And you see how, let me make me smaller here, because I am taking up this space. We can't have that. All right. Make you smaller, Tim. Now you can see more of Maisie. More Maisie, less Tim, right? That should be the battle cry. And let's come over here. So over here it's lighter, but it has more of a kind of a lime green over here, and we're going to glaze that over. You'll see. But you'll see as we are resolving certain areas. Blue, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Blue with the super chat, thank you so much for supporting the channel. It really helps. It helps immensely to keep things going. So if I need new equipment for the live streams or anything like that, I'm able to do that. And it just makes it so I can continue growing the channel. Now our channel is a really great channel. We grow very slowly. I see other channels grow really fast, but we have a steady growth. We have something that is really, how do you say, it's just relentless, you know. The support I get is relentless. You guys show up every week. It's just amazing, and I just love that. And I'm just gonna put some just a little blast of light. See how I can put a blast of light right there? And I can put a blast of light here because I can. So we can really have that skin glow. Now over here, grow slow and steady, very true. Hey Brad, thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate that, Mr. Brad. Brad has been my student for over 2 years. He is growing leaps and bounds, and he is just doing amazing stuff, and I really appreciate his support and his friendship over the years. Thank you so much for that. This is great. You guys are really encouraging me and knowing that I'm doing the right thing, that I'm where I need to be, that I'm making a difference. We're making a difference as a community, which is really wonderful. And thank you so much. Really great. Thank you, Brad. And you see here we have this sort of a green shift that's coming over here. So it's still the white color, but it has a little bit of, and I'll show you what colors I may use for that. So if I'm looking at it sort of a lime kind of green kind of thing. You wouldn't think that's what I would pick, but I'm going to pick this color right here. And I'm going to mix that with white and a little bit of gray. And we're going to pray. No, that rhymes. But no, seriously, you do that with a little bit of gray. And you're going to come up with something that we can adjust. So I'll show you what I have, and you'll be like, Tim, that's not the color. And I'm like, yeah, but we'll arrive there, right? So Wendy says, what pastels am I using? I've been collecting pastel brands, Wendy, oh my God, since I was like 15 years old. But right now, my go-to, sort of my workhorse, the Xtreme Patriot arrow of airbrushes, of pastels, would have to be Holbein soft pastels. So you see that green color? You might be like, Tim, you're crazy. That green color's just not it. But it really is. You wouldn't think, you know? Who's mom? Oh, my guess is, Tim, speaking of new equipment, where'd you get your new magnets? They were actually a gift. So that was really nice. And love those magnets there. What are they called? Steve knows about magnets, what they're called. They have a special long name, like a 50-cent name on there. Yes, Wendy, green in shadows. Could be veins, could be reflected light from what was in the studio, right? At the time. I could have been wearing a green shirt when I was photographing her. There's so many different variables could do that. So many different variables could cause that sort of green shift. But you can see how it works. And so for me, color is strictly intuitive. Values is scientific. Hey Clutch, how you doing? Good to see you. How are you, my friend? And so you can see I'm much more intuitive when it comes to color because you can. So you see that green? It looked like it wouldn't work, but it actually does work, which is really great. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for that green shift elsewhere. And that's what you do. Just like when we're working in black and white, we have a value and we say, okay, where is that value elsewhere? And this way we get an image that is much more unified because you're using similar. If you look at an old master painting and you look at several figures, those several figures are going to have pretty much the same color scheme. And that was a device that they used to create paintings that were unified. And that holds true when we're here and we're painting a figure, right? we want to make sure that our figures are unified. We want to have the full spectrum of color because there's so many colors throughout, but you want to echo colors that you have other areas. Just like in black and white, you will echo values that you see in other areas, right? Thank you so much, Clutch. I appreciate that. Hope to see you in a little bit. And so what does Steve say about the magnets? What kind of magnets are they? Some kind of cadmium, nickel, plutonium. I don't know what they are. But I know Steve actually was the one who got me started in magnets. You know, I used to use magnets a lot when I used to work vertically a lot. But Steve definitely helped me with this aspect. So you see how I'm coming in here and sort of working things out. Now right here in the neck, I went a little crazy with this warm value. So there's a lot of ways I could handle it. Let's see, what else? Mike said something about fungus. I don't know what that is, but that's funny. We're just going to come over here. And so right here we have to calm this down. So I'm going to be looking for something. I don't know if I'm going to find it in my studio. It's been a little bit touch and go. I did clean my studio, but then it sort of gets into that state of ordered chaos, right? Hey Paul, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. I appreciate that, my friend. Paul purchased one of my airbrushes, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward. He's a great artist, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, Paul and Brad and Honey. You guys are really giving me something to really be encouraged and to continue pushing. Like I said, our channel grows, but it grows slowly with good people. People who enjoy being part of the community. People who always contribute their comments, and you know, I love hearing from everybody, you know. And yeah, Willie says, glad you're back, Mike, and I agree with Willie. And Mike D is here. He was here earlier, Chris. He was only here for a few minutes because he works a lot of hours. And let's see, where is it? If I find it, I'll be happy. So I'm over here looking for this. And look at this, it's for target practice. One day I'll explain what that is. And let's see. So I wasn't looking for that. Over here. No. Is it over here? I have a lot of stuff, but not exactly able to get a hold of this. Oh, here we go. Bam! Look at that. That's what Tim was looking for. So thank you once again, Paul. You are the greatest. I appreciate that so much. This is called a color wheel. And you'll see this used wrong and incorrectly all the time. And yes, oh yeah, Chris knows what to do with the target. And with this color wheel, basically used correctly, you'll see that it tells you the tints of a color. So you have this red-orange color, and add more and more white and dark here. So you have all these different values. See that? So you have a dark shade, and then you have a lighter shade, and in between the two. So basically it gives you a full gamut of a color. So how are we going to use this? So let's say I zoom in here, and we're going to go to her neck, and I use too much red, right guys? So I want to calm down that red, but the first thing I have to do is really identify that red. And you don't want to identify it like it's red oxide or all this. You want to identify it pretty much with here on the color wheel. So let's say we're right here. And I would say it is very close to this value, more or less, a light value of this. So what we're going to do, we're going to zoom out and we're going to look for its complementary color. Now, you guys all know what complementary colors do, is complementary color will actually negate it or interfere with its reflection. So when you see a color, it's reflecting. Other colors are absorbing and it's reflecting a certain color. But what this is doing is we're helping to absorb some of that red so it doesn't show up. That's one way of handling it. Another way of handling it is actually adding gray to it. But I don't want to do that because I want to keep my colors kind of vibrant. I don't want to kill a saturation because then it starts becoming like a colored painting, a colored drawing. So I'm going to have to add a little bit of blue. So I'm going to take some blue and a little bit of the gray. And then I'm going to take a fresh triangle. Dun, dun, dun. And let's see if the experiment works, my friends. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. What are you going to do? So you see how strong this is? Also, I want to lighten the value. So I'm actually going to bring in a light here. So I want to do two things. I want to calm that color and I want to lighten the value. So let's see how it goes. And like anything else, if you add, just watch how I get rid of the red. Watch how that red comes down. It's science. So who knows that one song? She blinded me with science. Love that song. And let's see, what did Honey say? Honey said, oh, Steve gonna work in Lucy this weekend. Oh, so Steve gonna work in Lucy this weekend. So what does that mean? Is that a project you're working on, Steve? Look how I calm down that red, almost magical. See that, everybody? How I just sort of killed that red with color. And then I could soften this edge here. Thomas Dolby, that's right. Yeah, that is a great song. That is a great song. Very good. Oh, that's right. I love that one. The one you're working at. Amazing. You're doing really well with that, honey. I wanted to tell you that. Really nice. So right here, you see this color right here? It's kind of, so I'm thinking that same kind of bluish gray color. Let's put it here and see if it'll calm down this red a little bit. It's a little overpowering. So we're using the color wheel, guys. I took a course in college, color theory. It really did good, you know. It's didn't know exactly, you know. Thomas Dolby, correct, Catherine. That's right. See how I can just calm down that color just a little bit, and I can come back in with the color, but I can just, if you look at the paintings of, let's say, William Bouguereau, Alma Tadema, you'll find that a lot of their colors are super gray. And that's because in nature, everything is super gray. Saturation is not as much as, you know, we as people make everything super saturated. So, and you can see I'm adding this kind of bluish gray color all around. Like I said, I want to create a painting. You want to create a painting that has a sense of air and a sense of unity. So when you see a color somewhere, you look elsewhere to see if you see that color and you want to repeat it. And so that, like I said, you make some color notes here, some color notes over there, and before you know it, you have a very unified image. But the unification is, of course, the 1 second rule. You're not putting things arbitrarily. You're just making sure that you're kind of looking for the matches around. And I'm just going to bring this reflected light here. You see how that works? Hey, Patricia. Oh, Patricia's a bot. I'm sorry, Patricia. Patricia, I'm sorry you're a robot. Everyone say hello to the robot, Patricia. It's her name is Patricia Lopez, and she said vom.red. I don't know what that means, but it means something to her. Patricia bot, yes, she's our spokesperson. I like that kind of light green color we had earlier, and I'm going to relocate that green, and I'm going to put it right over here. But I'm going to do it very lightly. I'm just going to kiss the surface and just add that very slightly. So you see we have that green over here. And I'm going to look for that green elsewhere before I start going over to the next color. Like I said, we want to revisit colors and find where they are elsewhere, you know? Yeah, that's a new thing. So I don't know what's that about. What's that about? I don't know. But it started. I don't know what they could possibly get from going on the live stream. And let's see this color right here? I went a little crazy with it. I'll show you. So, you know, the thing is, when you're working in color, you have to worry about a new thing. You can get the value right, but if your saturation is off, if it's too saturated, you have to calm it down. So we're going to get that same blue-green color, and we definitely have to calm this down. See that? It looks good, but it's incorrect, right? So that's the thing. It looks good, but it's incorrect. So Steve Leahy did this painting. First Brad told me about it, and then I seen it on Instagram, and it was just breathtaking. And I always call it as I see it. And he did the detail of Michelangelo's Creation of Man, which is from the Sistine Chapel, and he actually painted on gold leaf. And one of the things I feel that Steve is doing, he's doing a lot of these small paintings, and he says that these paintings only take a short time relative to the larger paintings that he's doing. But what he's doing is that his learning process, and I'm not learning because he's a seasoned artist, but his growth and his experimentation is just really having a payoff. And you can see how that is happening. So what I recommend, if you ever get to the point where you don't know what to paint or whatever, or even you feel like, you know, maybe you're not growing as fast or whatever, is to go ahead and do those paintings I told you, where you put it in your sketchbook, small airbrush paintings. That will go a long way because you're not so married to it. It's not like something you're working on for 6 months. It's something small and quick, but there is a there is a spirit of experimentation when you do quick paintings. You're more bold. Am I correct in saying that, Mr. Leahy? And I can definitely see that. When I say growth, I don't mean growth as a painter. He's, like I said, he's an extremely seasoned and accomplished artist, master. But I can see things happening, things percolating, and that's exciting. It really is. Exciting to see, Steve. How that affects me is that I want to experiment now more. I want to have those quick pieces where I can throw caution to the wind a little bit and say, hey, why not, right? As Steve would say, what could go wrong? So I just wanted to say thank you, Steve, for inspiring me with that. It's really great. Tone, how you doing? Good to see you. And so if you haven't, go on Instagram and check out that painting. It's called, actually, well, it's the detail of Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel detail, creation of man. And so, yeah, I mean, it's important to grow as artists, but it's important to grow as people, right? But as artists, I think that when we do our long epic paintings, and we should be doing those epic paintings, right? You know, don't reserve that for people who, you know, people who are making lots of money. Those, it's not reserved to them. Have an epic painting going on, but have those small paintings going on, because I think that's where a lot of magic happens, in those small paintings. I know when I've done some really wonderful small paintings, it really made a big difference in me and my direction and everything. So I have to go down that road a little bit more. I work relatively small when it comes to the art world. But Steve does these like incredible, powerful small paintings. So who out there works small? Like, what's the size? Okay, so here's a good question I'm sending out to you. And I'm going to start with myself. What is the size of your most recent painting? And I am going to type in my size as soon as my... Let's see. Oh, numbers lock is off. Huh. Okay. Nope, it's just my keyboard. It's not working correctly. Let's see. Let's try. Steve Garcia, 11 by 14. Very cool. Put it up here. See if this works. So I'm 8.5 by 11 is me. Blue is 11 by 14 canvas. Tone is 16 by 20. Brad is 8.5 by 11. Very cool. So we're all pretty much around that same ballpark, right? Steve says, of all the days I have... Steve, you work so big. Oh my God, you know. Steve, why are you working so big? I thought you were the guy who painted small. That's funny. We caught you on the right day, didn't we? So I think that's funny. And that is mural side for Steve, right? That is hilarious. So I can see that what's happening is that we are working a standard size for, for what's going on, like right now on in our community. We're all working pretty small when it comes to what the art world is saying, because I think working big is great, but I also think working big is a luxury. I mean, if I was to paint a huge mythic painting, that would take me at the very least a couple of months. At the very least, guys. So that is unbelievable, right? That would be like, you know, I would be in the I would definitely be on the street if I didn't have any money coming in for 3 months. So, you know, I have to do smaller pieces. 8.5 by 11 by Mr. Payne. Okay, so that's cool, and so that's good to see. So we need some golden colors. So where are the golden colors for Miss Maisie in her face? So that's what I'm going to be looking for. You want to see these color shifts. And so, okay, I do see them. So this is going to be the main color I think I'm going to use is one of my favorite colors of all time. And it's Naples Yellow. And Naples Yellow is such an amazing color. It's very close. Here are different brands of the Naples Yellow family. And as you can see, you know, we have Holbein here, the older version. We have the newer version of Holbein. And then we have Art Spectrum, which is a really cool Australian company. And then here, believe it or not, you can see how, now Winsor & Newton no longer makes pastels. How sad. But I did get them because these are a nice medium, I would say medium soft. But this color, which is very close, this is a raw sienna, and it's a tint, so there's a lot of white in there, but you can see how close that is. So, you know, when you're working in color, you want to find your base color. So my base color, if I'm working in flesh, one of my base colors is Naples Yellow. And that's if I'm working on a Caucasian person, a black person, Spanish person, doesn't matter. You'll see that Naples Yellow is basically one of the building blocks of all flesh colors. And all the different races, the flesh is so close. I mean, our skin tones are so close than they are further away from each other. That's why I say we're all so much alike, you know. To become a painter, it's like so difficult to see people as so different because we can see how much alike everybody is. Yeah, so have you used the Winsor & Newton pastel? Because they don't sell it anymore, and it's such a shame because it was such a wonderful bridge between the harder pastels and the softer pastels. And no, Winsor & Newton doesn't, you know, and that's a shame. Hey there, Omas, how you doing? It's great to see you. Catherine, 8 1/3 by 11.7, A4 for drawings. Oh, wow. That is great. And Tone says, ever tried a portrait on a sneaker? So far, I've been the hardest to airbrush. Wow, that's fantastic. I'd love to see it. I would do some practices on some of the, you know, the airbrush canvases. That would be, some of the practice canvases, and see if you can get that sort of same texture. But I'm sure, you know, that's something you can handle, though. I mean, you're extremely talented, Tone, so I'm not worried about you. You got that. I've seen you do some amazing stuff, and I think I've seen you do some portraits, too. So Tone is off the hook. And let's see. Brad says, Tim, would you say that the human portrait is the most difficult of all subjects to paint? To get right? So in the Western tradition of painting, the human form in all its glory, whether it's a nude or a portrait, is the epoch or zenith point of subject matter. Everything else is pretty much below it as far as the Western Western civilization, in the West, is the portrait is definitely, as you say, would be considered the most difficult. Is it the most difficult? I don't know, because I think it all depends on what it is, right? If you're doing a still life that has reflections and glass and all kinds of other things and several textures. But I think as far as a whole and as far as the subject matter, I really feel that the human form, as you know, portrait included, is definitely the most difficult, you know. And let's see here. So Tone says on letter, if you don't like it, it can wipe off. Look at that. What am I using as an applicator? I use foam core, and so that works really great, Wendy. So that's really cool. So foam core. As you can see, I could use the, which is really fantastic. I can use this kneaded eraser and pull up any excess values that I don't need or want, which is really very, very advantageous. So working in pastels longer than I've been, how do you say this? So in my life, I've been using pastels longer than I haven't been. So I guess that's, so yeah. So I can pretty much manipulate this stuff pretty readily. So I could, like this, I can kind of soften that by going over it and pushing it, and then I can come in with the kneaded eraser. So I can pretty much manipulate pastel pretty easily. And that's what happens when you work on a subject more and more, and you work with a medium more and more, you pretty much know the ins and outs and what have you. So, yeah, the human form in Western, and I'm trained in the Western tradition, so yes, it is. It is definitely the highest, I would say. You know, you see the landscapes, they're great, but, you know, if the tree doesn't look quite right, who's going to know? A botanist, perhaps. But botanists, are they your audience? You know, it's like, so as you can see, I'm just going to move around. I'm going to come in with a warm color here. So I don't paint, I don't apply, very rarely do I apply the pastel directly on the surface. And never get me mixed up with those godforsaken company that makes those pan pastels. They are an abomination. So those things are horrible. I have my reason for my strong opinion, my strong emotional opinion about them. I won't get into it here, but I do have a reason to really despise that company and everything they stand for, which is garbage. And tree huggers. So Steve says, Tim, do pastels take special care when you store them? None whatsoever. And they don't age. I mean, as long as you don't put them like in the basement with all the moisture, you're fine. I mean, you put them in the studio. I have pastels from like 1985. I do. I have pastels from that long that are just as vibrant as they were the day I purchased them. Now, pastels can get dirty. That's something different, and then you just clean them off. So, that's easy. So I have a little bit of a strong color here, so I'm just gonna glaze a little bit of green here, and you see how that reacts to that color there. If I don't like it, I just remove it. And just, I can tap it to remove the exact amount I want to, and then I can come back in Now these triangles are great. You can cut little points, right? You can do little points with them. And then I could get a blend by just dragging this color up, just like so. Now, I can always fix it, but I don't have to fix it right away. I could take my time. That's the thing, you know, there's no rush. You just take your time. And let's see, yes, pastels will last forever and ever. And, oh, Nameless Subscriber says he has pastels for around 14 years. He's 30 now, so however long that is. Wow, that is great. And, no, it's actually the stuff that you, it's the stuff that you put on doorknobs for Do Not Disturb. And it's kind of the stuff that's inside sneakers, right? That kind of stuff. That they make that stuff out of. And let's see. See that little bit of red there? It's kind of nice, but I need to calm it down. Let's calm that down. Bring this down. I like to bring that dark down, that dark red. Let's bring that over here. Will pastel go on top of acrylic? Remember a thing about pastel. Every medium has its little thing, right? You know, oils needs to go thin over thick, thick over thin. Airbrush, you know, needs to watch out for blue shift. Watercolor has its problems because you can activate the color underneath it. Acrylics dry too quick. So here's the problem with pastel. And I wouldn't say the problem, but the limitation. And so when you use acrylic, what happens with acrylic, it's made out of plastic. So what that will do is it'll kill the texture of the paper. And once that happens, that means it's smooth. The thing with pastel needs to have something to grab onto. It's just basically dust and gum arabic. It's powdered pigment, gum arabic to hold it together, and for it to work, it needs to grab onto fibers. And that's why this is working. There's fibers in this paper. This is not pastel paper, so it's not exactly having the best time with this, but the more fiber or the more texture, the better it's going to be. However, if you are somebody working on acrylic, you're going to have a very hard time because the pastel is not going to be able to hold on to that. And when that happens, it causes a problem, right? So it won't adhere, and so you'll paint and it won't stick, and it just will not be a good time for you. So yeah, if you were, you would have to work in a very thin manner over a very textured surface. Is it impossible? No, but you have to do some chess playing, right? That would be something that would be a lot of chess and no checkers. So you would have to move like several steps ahead, be very pragmatic, and you would get somewhere that way. I'm just going to put in this highlight right here. And the thing is with pastel, I can put that down and then shape it afterwards. See how I can shape that? Same thing here. I could, ooh, it's blue over here, right? So let's get this really nice blue color, this blue gray, and put that into the eye, and then we can set up for the highlight. Let's see if we got it right. See that blue right there? Let's cut it here. Willie says, oh, all right, Willie, you have a great night. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much, and I hope you don't work too hard tomorrow. And let's see, what are the questions? Yes, exactly. And Wendy says, could she use colored pencil on top of acrylic? You can, but again, colored pencil needs that texture, right? So remember, a medium needs something to grab on, hold on to. So you might be able to get one, maybe two layers on there, but then once that's happening, you're kind of up the creek without a paddle. So you don't want that to happen. I'm just going to set up these eyes here. And let's see if we can put in the dark of those eyes. Let's go with our medium sepia, shall we? And my Xtreme Patriot arrow. Actually, this is Xtreme Patriot 105, which is the same thing, customized by myself, but it has the large cup. And that's the only difference. So some people need the large cup, so that's why that comes into play. And let's see. But the thing is, you know, this pastel takes more time to cook, right? So we just have to have patience, that's all. And I'm just going to, remember, we always want to test the airbrush off the painting, right? You never want to test it on the painting. I can lower that air pressure. So I watched a video where someone said, this was like a model builder, and he was he was giving a critique of the Patriot 105, the Xtreme Patriot arrow, and he goes, I don't know what this thing's for. And I was going to say something on his, but I was like, you know what, I'll just leave it alone. He was speaking to other model builders, and they had no idea what this is for, but this thing right here is crucial to be able to get tight detail. So and I'm just going to very slowly, because if I blast the light, if I blast this, it's not going to adhere. It's going to blow the pastel around. So I'm just going to get this a little bit darker, just like so. Oh, Patty, have a great night. Thank you so much. As always, Patty, you are the best, and I hope to talk to you soon. And I know you have to get up early, so I appreciate you very much. One of our regulars here, and she is great. And I'll calm that down. And it's great, I can actually move this sepia here, and I can have sepia do some really wonderful things here. The trick is to not go too dark too early. So it's like working on Bristol. You have to be real ginger. There we go. And just setting things up. Let's see. Okay, cool. So that's not bad. And Blue says, Brad, definitely going to have that conversation we discussed the other day. Have to make sure that you have a free day to dedicate. Cool. Okay. And oh, fantastic. Okay, cool, cool. And let's see here. And of course her eyebrows are dark, so we can reiterate that with this. So remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, so I'm not trying to solve all the problems right away, right? I'm just taking my time. Here we go. So where else can I go and put some dark accents here and there? Not the dark accents that are going to be the punchy ones at the end, but just some things that could make things have a little more sense. Put some of these straight hairs in here. I'll probably lose them later, but it's good to just work them in, that's all. So you can see that the airbrush can back up Pastel and Pastel can back up airbrush. These two are like sister mediums. They really work really well with one another. And Blue says, Tim, will the sepia settle the pastels without reaction, or does it depend? No reaction whatsoever. What it does, it acts as a glaze of color. So, and the thing is, it will basically tint the pastels on top. But that means it's still active. There's still dust particles on top. So as you can see, I'm taking those dark and I'm kind of glazing that sepia color. So with what looked like, you know, she was, you know, like dead skin color, she's starting to have a luminous quality. And that's because I'm building up the lights and also building up the darks at the same time. And you can see that when I go darker, I'm able to get more variety of values, and then I could slowly introduce color. So working with an underpainting is not just, you know, putting in the values and going over, but it's sort of that interplay of going back and forth with the underpainting. But the main takeaway from an underpainting is that you have a structure that's going to help you throughout the painting, as opposed to trying to arrive at the structure. It's almost like building a skyscraper and, you know, doing the girders and the foundation the same time you're doing the walls and the drywall. It just won't work. So you have to have that strong foundation. And that strong foundation is the drawing, is the underpainting. In this case, it was the sepia mix. And you see how it all comes together? You see how it works? And this is just a lot of years of me working in Pastel. I can make Pastel do anything I wanted to do. And so I can manipulate that, move it around. I could make things more transparent. I can make them more opaque. And all those different things really help with my main objective, which is to have a believable portrait, but also say something about my model. That's really important too. You don't just want to, you know, blindly copy. We have a lot of things that can do that, but as artists, we can definitely say something more about our subject, and that's the human quality that we have. So right now I can come in and reiterate this hair. And it's really cool because I can come back in with the light, which is nice. And I can stay with this airbrush for a while, and we can work on the airbrush a little bit. And you can see how this is really complementing the pastel. Is it a pastel painting? Is it an airbrush painting? What is it? And that's what a lot of people rack your mind over. let's not worry about what it is, and just, you know, and just enjoy it, you know, enjoy the process of these two mediums working together, right? And Wendy says she's beautiful. Thank you. Oh, wait a second. A girl that. Oh no, the portrait that you're doing. Yes, Wendy, I see that definitely. All the pics they have sent you are horrible quality. Oh yeah, Wendy, very true. You showed me that. Wendy's working on a portrait commission. Brad said, Wendy, most people don't have much of a clue when it comes to photography. I didn't know that is so true. I didn't know how little I learned about photography as soon as I seriously started learning about it. And it's about math, right? It really is. It's really about, I'm really liking the how do I say, I'm really enjoying how things are starting to come together. But I'm going to bring some of that down here. But I want to work on shaping this hair a little bit. So one thing I want you to see, those who are watching my live streams and seeing me work in India ink only in black and white, same exact thing is happening here. Nothing different. It's the same approach. It's moving around. It's making things light and then slowly going darker. We have the added issue of saturation and temperature, color temperature, things like that. We'll get into more and more. But the main gist is the same. You know, worry about your anatomy, worry about the values, the edges, worry about the lights into the shadows. All those different things are crucial. But it's really not separate. So when you're working in my India ink method and, you know, you want to go into pastel, you're going to be familiar with a lot of the issues that you're dealing with, and a lot of the answers will answer you here as well. Thanks you, Brad. Brad says she's coming along nicely. Much appreciated, my friend. Much appreciated. Again, I want to just try and establish some of the large shapes of the hair here that are going to work really well with the pastel. And that rhymes. So it works well with the pastel. So I might break off into a rap song, but I'm not sure. And again, we don't have to solve the problem of the hair. We just have to address the hair every now and then. We have to bring everything along together, not separate, right? Together, together, together. So let's continue in that vein here. Hey Colette, how you doing? Good to see you. Colette, you're the best. I'm so glad you're here. Oh, Colette says, don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate that. Mike S says, see if they have negatives and have new ones. I don't know. Let me see. What's Mike saying that? Oh, negatives of the pictures. Good point there, Mike S. Good point. Yeah, sometimes they'll have the negatives. That's true. You know, I never thought about that. I'm going to ask my next commission. I'm going to say, you have negatives? Okay, so enough of your airbrushing for a while. Let's go ahead and this side always got to look just like an airbrush. You know, what am I ignoring, Tim, right? And I think I'm ignoring this side of her. So let's see what we can do. Oh, look at that. Blue said, too bad they don't have heart buttons. Love Tim's feed. Thank you, Blue. And so Blue's doing some amazing work. if you haven't seen her progression of how she's doing, check it out. It's very encouraging. Shows hard work pays off. And so I'm very happy to see her growing as an artist. So that's, hats off to you there, honey, definitely. And so right now I'm going to take that bluish color. So this right here, maybe I can plow the field. Those who take my classes know I talk about plowing the field a lot. And what that basically means is sometimes you can do more by getting rid of what's there currently. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to add this sort of light gray color here, because it's more like, and even like, it's like a super gray. Super gray. And we'll kind of put that over there. And then this really sort of blends in. We're going to do that. We're going to blend that in, but we don't have to do it right away. And you see it may be a little blotchy, but it's all good. And then it's more yellow. And so we're going to put a yellow and gray together. See, the thing is, you want it, when you're painting, this is how you have to assess. Okay, so I'm hitting the value. Is that value on the yellow side, on the green side? And then once you say, okay, it's yellow, and then are you saying, like, is it a, because you have your color wheel, right? So you don't just say, is that yellow? You say to yourself, is that yellow going towards the green side, or is that yellow going towards the red side? It can only go in one direction. So here's the center. So a lot of people will call this the cool yellow, and some people will say this is a warm yellow. And then you ask yourself, how much saturation do you have? Saturation means how much gray is in it, right? And how strong that yellow is. And then you can say, is there white added to it? So all those different questions you ask yourself, and that's how you pretty much find a color. But you definitely have to ask all those questions, because you can't just say, oh, it's a yellow. It's just not enough information for you to get that value. Now, someone working like me, I'm not under pressure. I'm going to get that color eventually. So you see, I just put that down. I don't have to worry, because I'm coming back. I'll be back, And so that's my feeling about that. I don't have to worry about getting it perfect. I just have to make a quick assessment and say, like right here on this edge, it's like a warmish color. And let me see what kind of value that would be. So I would say it's more of a magenta color, maybe something in this direction. And I'll put that there. And then I also say that it's on a very, very, very washed out gray color. And I would say something like that. And then I would put them next to each other, maybe a little bit of yellow, because there's a lot of yellow going on. And then I would mix them together. And then that's where I would find my value. But like I said, I don't put pressure on myself. I arrive at the value, and I have the whole painting to do it, right? So you see that? That's how you approach it. Now I see some of that really nice value in a very washed out white. So I'm going to come in with white, and I'm going to add a little bit of magenta-y purple color. And I'm going to apply that, because it's not all the same. It's a lot differences. And even though it's a lighter value, there's a kind of a cool purplish shift here. Now, it's just my experience over the years of painting in color that I'm able to make these kind of on-the-fly assessments. It's going to take you time, so don't get discouraged if you don't have it right away. You have to continue seeing color to really start understanding its language. So you see, I just put that purplish color there on her breast, and like I said, I can come and adjust that later, so I am not worried. My painting is not to be judged, and at any stage. At the end, when it's on the when it's off the easel and being framed, that's when one can judge my paintings. So that's why I don't worry about it. I don't have a problem with somebody saying, "Oh, it looks like this in the early going." I could care less. I'm just going to add some lighter value here. And like I said, I can come back later. But I'm just going to add some light value. And watch what happens as I kind of enrich in some of these values here on her face. So I came down here. I felt good. I worked on some of the areas I was ignoring. Then I can go back to the fun part here. And let's see, Wendy says, Drawer Mixed Paint has a very good tutorial on matching color. You don't want to match color. And I'm going to say something controversial. You don't want to match color. You want to paint. You want to react to a color. So there's a difference. So when you are studying from life and you're working from the model and you're doing that over a course of several years, you're trained to react to color. You're not trained to mimic it, because when you mimic color, you're limiting what you're saying about it. You're missing a lot of the structure. And when the Impressionists, I'm not exactly 100% on board with the Impressionists, but they made a lot of sense in a lot of different things, where they decided to get away from formulas, decided to get away from doing things in a way that was too, what's the word I'm saying, too mechanical. And what they came up with was something had a lot more life to it, because they weren't so worried about everything being perfect. What they really wanted was to get the flow, different things that are involved in finding color. The great thing about color is one of the most subjective things in the world. Value is different. When you're doing a black and white or monochromatic, color is not subjective. It's objective. Value from light and dark. But I can guarantee that my rods and cones are different than yours. So your assessment of color is going to be different than mine. And that's what's exciting about it. And color can create mood. Color can do so many different things. And so that's why you don't want to be formulaic. And you don't want to stunt it or kill it. And that's what matching color does. It really just kills the life of a painting. And when you go to art museums and you see a painting and you see, let's say, a Mary Cassatt painting. Mary Cassatt, if you don't know her, is a 19th century American painter who studied in Europe and worked in Europe, in France, hung out with the Impressionists. She's actually from Pennsylvania, any of you Pennsylvania people out there. And if you look at her color, it's just an interplay. So you see how I'm interplaying color, moving color back and forth? That's the way I work in airbrush, believe it or not. Is when I'm working in color, I'm just moving color back and forth. And I'm arriving where I want to be. I'm not trying to, get there one shot, right? It's not going to happen. It's going to be an interplay of lots of different values and color temperatures and different degrees of gray. All those different things, transparency and opaque colors. How are you going to do that by just matching that color? You can't. So my homework, if you guys, especially the women artists out there, look up the work of Mary Cassatt and see just how beautiful her colors are and how she sort of feels the color out. It's Degas' portrait, Edgar Degas' portrait of his ballet dancers. They're just alive, and you can actually feel them a lot more. I love academic painting, I really do. But even academic painting is lots of layers of color. And trying to get away from a lot of the formulas that are going on. See right here, I'm going to kill this oversaturation here. See how I can do that? Just calm that saturation, and I'm going to continue going back down there in that area. So let's see what I have here. Negatives were great. Wendy says there's a link to that. Would be interested in viewing. Yes, Blue, send. Thank you so much. Just realized that I'm a few minutes behind. Internet is lagging. And Brad says, love the cast shadow from her hair. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's something I'm working on. And I'm trying to get the life of that. So I'm staying away from getting too, like, I want to mix that color and I just want to nail it. No, I want to really get those wispiness of it. And I'm going to continue going down that road. And it's a lot of fun just going back and forth and assessing color. So when I'm working in just black and white, I'm assessing everything's the same, I'm looking at the values, I'm looking at a lot of different things. But now with color, there's like another thing you have to juggle. And it is juggling. There's no other way around it. It's definitely juggling. There's no other way I could really describe it. Because now I have to worry about not only value, but also saturation and chroma and all that fun artsy stuff. So you see, I'm going to continue working around, not walking around, but traveling around the canvas here or the paper. I am not ignoring anything. I'm bringing everything up together. The eyes, nose, and mouth are the stars of the painting. They're going to be a little bit further along than everything else. So someone could say, hey Tim, that gray is not right for that hair. And I will say, hey, it's not even close to done. I have so many layers to do. Not to saying that I'm not bulletproof, that someone can't critique my work. No, but the thing is, the way I'm working in color is just like the way I work in black and white, is layers upon layers. And I'll get there. But, when it comes to painting, you have nowhere to go. So you have to stick with it. And you just have to be committed to its completion, right? That's the thing. You have to be committed to its completion. Tim, what's the string for? Oh, is there a string? Oh, this is just a twist tie. I don't know how it got there. My cat likes to play with them, so I picked it off this floor. She collects them. If she sees one like on the kitchen table, she'll grab it and start playing with it. And it ends up in the most crazy places. It really does. It's exciting because you don't know. Hey, Paul, thank you so much, my friend. That is so cool. With the super sticker, I really appreciate that. And, just thank you for your support and friendship. It means a lot more than you know. So thank you. It's so important to get positive feedback that doing the right thing, that I know there's a lot of competition out there, especially at the same time, and for you guys to come here to me is really makes me feel good. Thank you. So we have 4 super chats. So I definitely will sell this painting, Brad. That's for sure. But let's let it get done first, so this way, if someone's interested, I'll be really happy and proud that Maisie's in someone's collection here. But this was like not expected. Painting in pastel. This is basically an airbrush channel. But I figure, why give up on the painting, right? Why just say, okay, I'm going to throw in the towel when I have all these tools in my tool chest. And pastel is not just a tool. It's like having a tractor that no one knows about or something, because we're talking many, many years, of experience. Steve, have a great night. You are the best, and thank you so much for hanging out. And looking forward to Monday's live stream. Steve Leahy, Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. He gives the most amazing live stream, and that's on Steve Leahy's Facebook channel. So go check that out, my friends. You will find that you will be there every week because it's that good. He gives information that is extremely inspiring. Not only that, he gives away a painting. That's amazing. So check it out if you want to have a chance to win a painting from a active American master of realism, then definitely check it out. That is, once again, that is 6 p.m. Mondays, and all the way from sunny Ohio, which is really cool. And let's see. Oh, Brad says sell you the painting? Definitely. Well, I'll definitely put it on hold for you so no one else can. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that, my friend. It's an honor to have my work in your collection. That's for sure. And let's see. And we're just going to move this around. And you see how coming in with the black pastel, I can just slowly build that up, which is fantastic. Oh, wow, it's 4:58 there, Catherine. Yeah, in Belgium. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Brad. That's really nice. I mean, that's really encouraging, not nice. That's wonderful, sir. Thank you for that encouragement. And honestly, very, very profound thank you. And let's see. Everyone wishing Steve a good evening, which is cool. So So how many have seen Steve's live streams? They're really great. Just a lot to learn. So definitely bring your A game listening ears, because you get a lot of great information. I got a lot of great information from Mr. Steve's live streams. So sometimes this might seem laborious or whatever, but you know, you continue with the 1 second rule. You just relax and, you know, and then just enjoy the process. Yeah, definitely, I agree. So Brad says Steve has great live streams. Oh, that's right. So Blue says she loyally follows us both. Thank you, Blue. That means so much. To even be in the same sentence with Mr. Leahy is an honor. So thank you. Thank you so much. So like I said, this model, her name is Maisie. So I went to the High School of Art and Design, and they had a sketch weekend where you could go there anytime during the week and you can sketch with all the alumni. So I was there, and this model was there, and she was amazing. And then when I seen her pose, I was just like, she's just great. She had a really nice presence about her. And I just went up to her and I said, hey, would you be interested in posing for me in my studio? And she said yes, and it was such a wonderful experience. She was a great model, and she's in several of my paintings from around 2017 to 2018, maybe early 2019. She was in several of my paintings. Which is great. When you find a good model, hold on to them. You know, it's horrible when you lose touch of models, you know, models that trust you, because let's face it, asking somebody to pose is, you know, number one, it's a nervous thing for me, asking somebody to pose. I mean, and then, you know, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so, you know, what are they going to think of me or whatever? But for them, it's like frightening, right? You know, I would be, you know, going into some person's studio or whatever. But I always say, you know, you can bring somebody with you. That always is good, to bring somebody along. And that makes them feel more comfortable. And if they like posing, and of course I pay them, if they like it, then, you know, and if they're good, then I would have them come back. And the great thing is, when you get to work with a model more and more, their comfort level with you grows, and vice versa, and together, you know, you get a much better working relationship, and that's when real magic happens. I had models who posed for me up to like 12 years. I have people who still pose for me over 12 years right now. And sometimes I lose touch with models. Sometimes they get in contact with me, and I'm like, of course. And with COVID, of course, it changes everything, right? How many hours a day do I airbrush? I would say 6 hours a day. Now that includes working with students, you know, so I do airbrushing with students. So I would say 6 hours a day. Maybe pastel 2 hours a day. So Wendy says, get old and may not be as hot a model. I don't know. I just think it's whatever we're looking for, right? You know? But yeah, you know, it's I love working with somebody, you know, over a long period of time. It really is so much better to, and I think models grow like fine wine, right? If you if you found something interesting in them and inspiring, that doesn't go away. I'm just going to be working on the hair a little bit. So look at this as, who was that? Mr. Bob Ross? Just some happy hairs. And so this hair needs a friend. Oh, here's a cool thing. So we have a negative space. Now, could we do this? Let's see. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to see if I can pull out this negative space. Dun, dun, dun. It may work. It just may not. We will find out. So it's not working all that well, but maybe if I darken that, let's take out the airbrush. Remember, one pass will let it dry and we can go over it, right? So that's what we're going to do. One pass and go over it. So, so Paul says, I'm an airbrush. And so he says he's an airbrush. Oh, he has 3 mentors, including Mr. Tim. They all have their own techniques, and he learns from Dig It. Very cool. Happy little hairs. Exactly, Blue. Happy little hairs. They need a friend. So you see, I make one pass, I come back. I'm not in a rush, right? One pass, Tim comes back. No rush whatsoever. Ooh, while I'm here, let me just deepen up this value here. It's also interesting, you know, where we are in different times. Now that I'm photographing more more technical as far as my portrait photography, I would not have posed her in this way. I would have done some different things. So that's very interesting that, you know, different times of your life, you know, you would be surprised of, you know, where we are at different moments. Tim gets baggy old man pants with age. Oh my God, I hope not. And I am dieting there, my guess. Hey Jeff, how you doing? Good to see you, my friend. How are you? And Wendy says, Tim, you can go on top of the pastel with airbrush? Oh, of course. Definitely go on and pastel on top of airbrush both ways. So you see how they work together? And you just continue doing that over and over and over again throughout the painting. It's indefinitely. You can do that. I love that aspect of it. When you combine the two, you can do some really wild stuff. That's weird, wild stuff. And so actually my pants are baggy, Steve. It is very funny. But they're baggy because I just lost 15 pounds. I've been on this diet since October. I weighed myself and it was 198 pounds because of COVID, and I was eating a lot of cheese sandwiches and peanut butter and jelly. I was going to town. I was having a good time. I lived by myself, so a lot of stuff I'm used to, a lot of activities I used to have, I don't have anymore. So, and I was bored. So I would do a lot of eating. And so I got bigger, and so did my pants. And now I'm losing weight, and I still have 7 pounds to go. I'm afraid to get new pants, because if I buy new pants that aren't baggy, what's going to happen is that I am not going to be able to wear them. So I'm just going to wait a little while longer to get some pants. Let's see. Oh, so Wendy likes that. That's cool. So that's neat. And let's see. Mike S says it figures the one thing he was not supposed to see, he did. And let's see here. It's stressful now because of COVID. It's true. So that's, thank you so much, Blue. I appreciate it. I got like 7 pounds to go. And it's not easy, but I did lose. So I'm at 181. I keep going back to 181, 180. So that's like 19 pounds, 18 pounds. So not bad, not bad. But I'm still working at it, you know, still a work in progress. I like food, but I don't have any junk food in the house. So that's helping me. So I'm putting some of this gray here, which is cool. I'm kind of getting the direction of this light here. Kind of sculpting that light a little bit, not much. So it's interesting to hear about the different sizes that people work in. I love that. That was really cool. And so what is the one painting that's on? Tone says how tall I am. About 5'8", between 5'8" and 5'9", depending on what my posture is that day. Thanks for the support, Blue. So Brad says he wishes you get back to 198. Just be healthy, my friend. That's all that's important. You know, if you get there, you get there. If you don't, you don't. Mike S says he's been losing weight, not from a diet, but inflation. Oh, man, I hear that. And, yeah, so according to the BMX, I'm still overweight, but I'm at the edge of being overweight. So, oh, that's my keyboard. Sorry. Ow. Ah. So yeah, I'm on the edge of overweight, so I'm getting there. Getting there. But then again, I don't want to lose too much, because it's not so much how you look as opposed to how you feel, right? That's more important. So it's very crucial to have that, is to make sure you feel good. If you feel good, I think that's the most important. Hey, there he was. How you doing, Mr. Airtod? How's work going? I know that's your new job. You had it a couple of months. How's that going? So that's great. And so Paul too. So, you know, be easy on yourselves. The world is hard enough on us without us doing it, right? So just know that, you know, if you do your best, and that's all you can do. And just do your best. That's all I'm going to do. Sometimes your best is unbelievable. Sometimes your best is slow, right? Doesn't mean anything. And let's see here. I'll zoom out. And you can see I just sort of worked on her neck area there. Just put in a little bit of transparency there. And work in progress, work in progress. That's what it's all about. And so everyone's saying hello to Todd. That's so cool. It's expensive to eat, yes. Since I'm on a diet, though, I save about $40 a week. That's not bad, right? And Blue says, Tim, don't go by the scale. Muscle is denser, so even if you weigh more, it's a solid, healthy weight. Very true. Very true. And, you know, I'm athletic, so I'm pretty muscular. But, yeah, but I know that I could lose some of this stuff over here. You hear that? That's my stomach. So I'm working on that, Blue, you know. And Mike S. says he used to weigh 185 and could bench 285. Oh, okay. And 2 hands to hold your beer. Well, as long as you're healthy, Mike, that's all that matters. Right? That's all that matters, is that you're healthy. I can't get back to the gym because of COVID. I don't trust it. So I am not going to put myself in danger and those around me. So that's why I've been working out at home, which is not the same, right? Just not as encouraging. Air Todd says, work's been SOS, working 6 days this week. Wow, that's a lot. And that's, wow. So that is a lot. That's a lot of hours. But hey, that means good money, right? Hopefully, you know. Maybe you can get some stuff you want, put some money in the bank for a rainy day, because they come. So I did ask everybody what size was your painting. So I want a painting that no one sees, a painting that you're working on. Well, this could be some you see or someone sees, but one of the paintings you're working on that you're really happy with. And what is the subject matter of the painting you're working on that's in progress that you're really happy with? And for me, I'm going to say the David Bowie portrait demo. I'm really happy with that. I'm doing that with 2 of my students right now. So that is the painting that I'm most happy with at the moment. So how about you guys? What's the painting that you really are enjoying? Oh, Wendy, you had problem with your HVAC, right? So you never know when something like that could happen. So you're doing good, Mr. Todd. You're working hard, putting some money away. You're going to be ahead of the game. Oh, look at that, Mr. Payne, David Bowie as well. He's one of my students who I'm doing the demonstration with. It's coming out amazing. So Brad's saying he's really liking his version of Lucille Ball. So am I. Lemonade break. And Tone says he's skinny and can eat whatever and whenever. I could gain a few pounds. Good for you, Tone. And as long as you feel good, that's all that matters. Mr. John Diekman, thank you so much. And stay warm over there. I know it's kind of chilly in Wisconsin. It's always a pleasure to see you, and it's an honor to have you on the live stream. So thank you so much for being part of the community, Mr. John. Mike S. says he made a typo. He used to weigh 165 and bench 285. And had a 26 waist and 42 chest at night. Wow, that's a pretty good physique there, that's for sure. And let's see. Meant to put a happy face. Oh, I see. Cool. Cool. So yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying that piece of that I'm working on. The David Bowie, so I'm happy with how that's coming out. Now, I like using pencil and everything else when I'm working in pastel. Some people say don't use pencil. I use pencil all the time interchangeably when it comes to all mediums, including airbrush. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to establish some of these stray hairs as they come out. So if I draw them, they'll be much easier to airbrush later. So you see I'm doing some of those stray hairs. And so when it comes to painting, anything goes. There is no right or wrong. It's just how it comes out. And I really feel strongly about that. Because we are painting for ourselves. Yes, we do have commissions and everything, but they're commissioning us to paint like us. That's why they commissioned us. They like our work. So ultimately, we're painting for ourselves. So whatever you feel you should apply to your work, please do. Don't let anyone or any kind of dogma hold you back. Dogma is never a good thing. And so we'll zoom out. So you see how just little by little I'm just giving a little bit more messiness to her hair. And I'm going to do that out here too. So it's going to be messy. And then when I come in with the airbrush, it's going to really make sense. Let's see if we can start the ball rolling in that. The great thing about the airbrush is that you can start and stop like real hair is. But the trick is, don't try and build Rome in a day. So just go over it once. Make sure your airbrush has great flow. And you load that air pressure. So you see how we're beginning to work on some of these areas here. But see, that's something that you want to start with the pencil. And make sure you hit it and then leave. Because if you stay there, you're going to get spidering. And it's just not going to look good. And so as you see, I'm just getting a little bit of the messiness there. The way hair works is that when you see hair along a light background, there's going to be dark areas and then there's going to be light areas, and then it's just going to disappear. Because hair doesn't come out in even strands. Sometimes it gets lost, and it gets really thin. Like you'll see right here, we can sort of have it disappear like that. See that? And that's, so really when you're painting hair, you want to paint the characteristics of hair. So maybe in your reference it doesn't have all those different characteristics, but that doesn't mean you can't go ahead and create those characteristics to make it much more realistic. See that? So that's something that you can do. And let's see. Mike says, Blue, what era Lucy are you painting? Oh, so Lucy, yes, Blue's doing an amazing... so Blue said, Lucy, as long as she stops looking at me with, you're going to do great, Blue, so don't you worry. And just be tenacious, okay? That's the best advice I can give. Be tenacious, and it's not over till it's over. I'm going to darken this area here just a little bit. 1 second rule, and then you can zoom out. We can say, hey, now we're getting a little bit of messy hair there, which is nice. It's more real, and she's looking less like a cartoon and more like a real person. And beautiful freehand shields you can use when you combine this. You can never get a hard edge like this in pastel, but when you combine it with airbrush, you sure can, right? Look at that. Same thing here. We can, this shield right here, eventually you'll find exactly what you're looking for. You just have to turn it and twist it and you'll get it. Perpendicular, not parallel. See, nothing has changed when it comes to painting with the India ink or, monochromatically with the sepia only. We're solving the same problems, but with the added issue of chromatic value and saturation, and those are the things, and temperature. So those are the things. So yeah, I do teach color. I teach color, to students. And so my way of teaching color is a lot different than most that you'll see out there. Because the way I teach color is a very, impressionistic kind of way, which is not esoteric, but based on strong value and edges and reflected light and anatomy. And then, so John Augusto Domenico said that a great painting is 80% drawing. And I really feel that it is. And so we have a solid drawing, and you see we can build a painting on top of it. But if you have a weak drawing, you're not building anything on it. So it's the foundation, is the drawing, is the black and white. So that's so important. And let's see what else is good conversation going on there. Cool. Okay, so and let's continue over here. And okay, so what time is it? 11:26. So we are getting to the nitty gritty as I'm finishing up. If you're new here, you haven't been to my live streams, my name is Timothy John Luke Smith. I do live streams, demonstrations for the portrait in airbrush. Mostly, this is a treat. We're doing pastel, and I do step by step. The only live stream out there that does a full portrait in the live stream from the very beginning to the very end. And we're talking like real detail stuff, not a quickie. So this is the only live stream that will actually keep you from the very beginning to the very end. And I think that's special, and that's one thing I'm proud of. So definitely, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you haven't hit like, go ahead and hit like. And that just lets me know that I'm doing right, you're getting something from it, and that makes me feel good and encourages me to keep going. Because, the life gets discouraging, especially the long haul. I've been doing these live streams for 5 years. 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 5 years. Over 5 years. It was 5 years last month. So over 5 years I've been doing this live stream. And, just fantastic. In the very beginning, my live streams were, nobody was here. And now it's nice and healthy. We have so many people here, and it's so encouraging, and it's a great group of people, and everyone encourages one another. And that was my vision back in 2017, to create a live stream, because live streams were very new back then, and nobody was doing it. And I saw the possibility of it, and I was like, I can see that happening. I'm going to put some of this reflected light going on over here. And like I said, we just want to arrive at these values. So we're not trying to get it right the first time. And what's nice is that with pastel, eventually you're going to arrive at a surface texture. And I'll talk about that next week. What surface texture is, and when it arrives, what it does. And I think you'll enjoy that discussion. And let's see, so Oh, thanks. My mom's here, Marion Smith. Thanks, Mom. Love you. So it's so great you're here. Too bad you're here. It's at the end. It's 11:30. So 11:29. We have one more minute. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Brad and Wendy and Paul for the super stickers. I really appreciate that. So encouraging, and everyone for stopping by. And so this was a really a fun. Look at everyone saying hi to Mom. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. Mom is great. I love her so much. And thank you, Brad. Brad says to my mom that my son's a super teacher. I appreciate that so much, sir. And so we are doing great. It's 11:30. Next week we're gonna just continue and just see where it takes us. Take care, everybody. Have a great night, and thank you so much for hanging out with little old me. And I hope to see you next week. Take care, my guests. Always great you're here. Glad you're back.